one of the questions we get, why does it take so long to get to site? Why does it take 3 months to get to site? And the answer is there's a lot to do, right? So there's a fair bit going on there. And, in the background, as much as you're thinking, well, my builder's doing nothing at all, I can't imagine they're doing anything, there's a fair bit going on. So some of those steps and sorry, the other part in that is often those things going on are done by third parties. So they're relying on others to get that stuff done. But depending on the builder, it could be, getting the colour appointment finalised, getting that all signed off by yourself, the customer, and having all that done, waiting on yourself, the customer again, to get their finance approval. So providing the contract, any back and forth from the bank, they might want to see other information from the builder, so they're providing that. Ordering the property information such as soil tests and surveys, those sort of things if they haven't already been done. Obtaining developer approval, and again, depending on the developer and depending on the person doing those developer approvals, some of them fly through, send it in, rubber stamped, approved, let's go. Others down to the infinite detail of back and forward and just tough for the builder, tough for the consumer. These people are like, no, I've got the rubber stamp. I'm not going to stamp it until you do what I tell you to do, sort of attitude. So we juggle that. We've got to prepare the full working drawing. So often what you see, particularly in the early days, is a set of standard plans, but you don't have the full working drawings with all the detail of how to build some of this stuff behind what happens. So you might have a post on your porch that's got a downpipe running down the middle of it, and then they have to go and draw how to actually build that, because otherwise they get on site and they're like, well, where's the downpipe go, right? So they provide all of that in the full working drawings. Obtaining engineering. So, an engineer actually has to provide a certification of or a plan of how to, for example, build your slab, and then how to build your frame so that they're actually going to last. We don't want them falling over. You've got to get an energy rating. So, you've now got the whole of home rating also as part of that. They've got to lodge to get a permit. So they'll be either dealing, depending on how they operate, through their surveyor or through the council. They need to place the orders with the suppliers and get all that lined up so that the suppliers now know when, and likewise the trades. They need to make sure that they're all lined up, ready to go. And we can now get your slab poured, the fencing up, or whatever, gets things kicked off. So there's a fair bit go on in the background over that period of time. And you can only do certain things once other stuff's been completed. It's not like you can go, we'll do all this at once. I need this in before I can do the next step, a bit like we're talking about earlier with the trade. So there are a lot of steps by third parties, as we mentioned, and they're often out of the control of the builder. They will often have, benchmark times. Doesn't mean they always hit those benchmarks, so they'll be trying to hold them accountable to that. The other part is the customer can often delay that process also. So, for example, if you go to your colours and you can't make up your mind on the day and you've got to go back again, you might not be able to go back for 2 or 3 weeks. Doesn't mean you just come back the next day. There's other people booked in. So that can be a challenge. You might not just want to sign off on it because you want to think about it. You want to go and consult with your friends and family around, those sort of things. It can take a while for people to approve their drawings. So their drawings are sent out asking them to approve it. Absolutely, we want you to check it to make sure it's right, and that obligation is on you. That's why they get you to sign it off.